She was just 9 years old, standing in a cold, silent hospital room. One life hung in the balance, someone she didn't even know, and her mother's future rested on her tiny shoulders. Every second felt like a lifetime, every breath heavy with fear. In a world ruled by power and danger, Zariel was about to make a choice that could change everything. Welcome back, my fearless hearts and secret dreamers. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed, smash that like button, and tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing our little world of dark twists and forbidden love spreading everywhere. Every comment, every click, every bit of energy you leave here helps us unravel the next shocking betrayal. So grab your favorite spot, turn the world down, and let's get lost in the story. Here we go. The mop slipped from little Zariel Okoye's hands and slammed against the hospital floor, the metal handle clanging so loudly it echoed down the hallway. Water splashed everywhere. Zariel froze. Her eyes widened in panic as nurses turned, startled. A security guard stiffened. Somewhere beyond the glass doors of the private wing, a machine began beeping faster. I'm sorry, Zariel whispered, scrambling to grab the mop again. Her small fingers trembled as she tried to clean the mess before anyone could shout. She hated loud voices. Loud voices meant trouble. Loud voices meant her mother would apologize until her back hurt. Then the hallway went quiet. Too quiet. Zariel felt it before she saw it, a pressure in the air, heavy and cold. She slowly looked up. A man stood at the far end of the corridor. He wore a dark coat that looked expensive even to a child who had never owned anything new. 4 men stood behind him like shadows. No one spoke to him. No one stopped him. He looked at Zariel. And in that moment, she felt very small. Leave it, the man said calmly. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried. The security guard instantly stepped back. Zariel's mother hurried over, bowing deeply, her hands still wet from cleaning supplies. She's just a child, her mother said quickly, voice shaking. Please forgive her. The man didn't answer her. He looked at Zariel again, studying her face, not kindly, not cruelly. Just, carefully. Then he turned and walked away toward the glass doors of the VIP ward. Only after he disappeared did Zariel realize her knees were shaking. Don't ever drop anything here again, a nurse whispered sharply. That was Kang Dae-suk. Zariel didn't know the name. She just knew she never wanted that man to look at her again. Upstairs, Kang Jae-min lay motionless in a private hospital room filled with machines. The beeping was uneven now. The doctors' voices were tense. The poison damaged his liver too fast. We've tested everyone on the registry. There's no match. Kang Dae-suk stood near the bed, his hands clasped behind his back. He looked down at his son without touching him. You have until morning, he told the doctors. Find one. Downstairs, Zariel followed her mother quietly as she pushed the cleaning cart. Zariel was supposed to be asleep at home, but she hated being alone, so she stayed with her mother during night shifts. Her mother coughed, a deep, painful sound. Mom? Zariel tugged her sleeve. I'm fine, her mother said, forcing a smile. Just tired. But a few steps later, her mother staggered. Zariel screamed as her mother collapsed. Everything happened fast after that. Nurses ran. A stretcher appeared. Zariel clutched her mother's hand as they rushed down the hallway. Please, Zariel cried. She just needs to rest. She works too much. In the emergency room, a doctor knelt in front of Zariel. We're going to help your mother, he said gently. But we need to do some tests. Is that okay? Zariel nodded quickly. A nurse took a small blood sample from Zariel's arm. She didn't cry. She was used to needles from school checkups and free clinics. But the nurse didn't leave afterward. She stared at the screen. Then she frowned. Then she called someone over. Is something wrong? Zariel asked softly. The nurse forced a smile. No, sweetheart. Just wait here. Minutes passed. Then a doctor came. Then another. Zariel's stomach twisted. Finally, a security guard appeared. "We need you to come with us," he said. Zariel hugged her arms around herself. "Did my mom wake up?" "She's resting," he replied. They walked past hallways Zariel had never been allowed to enter. Plush carpets replaced tiles. The lights were softer. The rooms quieter. She was led into an office with dark walls and big chairs. Kong Dae-suk was sitting inside. Zariel stopped walking. Her heart began to race. "Come here," he said. She stepped forward slowly. "How old are you?" he asked. 9, Zariel whispered. He nodded. "You're very brave." She didn't feel brave. A doctor stood beside him, hands clasped tightly. "Sir." "Explain it to her," Dae-suk said. The doctor crouched in front of Zariel, trying to smile. "There's a boy upstairs. He's very sick. And your blood test shows that you can help him." "How?" Zariel asked. The doctor hesitated. "You have something inside you that can help his body heal." Zariel frowned. "Will it hurt?" The room went quiet. Her small voice filled the silence again. "Will my mommy be okay?" Dae-suk answered this time. "Yes." He slid papers across the desk. Medical bills. Notices Zariel couldn't read, but she recognized her mother's name. "She will never have to clean again," he said. "She will be safe." Zariel stared at the papers, then up at him. "And me?" "You will be taken care of," he said calmly. Zariel's chest felt tight. "Will I die?" The doctor quickly shook his head. "No. No, sweetheart." Zariel thought of her mother sleeping alone in a hospital bed. Thought of nights when her mother skipped dinner so Zariel could eat. "If I help," Zariel asked quietly, "my mom won't cry anymore?" Dae-suk looked at her for a long moment. "She won't," he said. Zariel nodded once. "Okay," she whispered. The adults in the room exhaled like they'd been holding their breath. As Zariel was led away, Kong Jaemin's heart monitor upstairs steadied for the first time all night. If this story is already pulling at you, pause for 1 second, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, because what this little girl just agreed to will shake everything. And this is only the beginning. Alright. Here is batch 2, February 5th. Is almost equal to 1,000 words third-person POV emotional escalation dialogue-driven non-graphic no headings. Zariel woke up to bright lights and the smell of disinfectant. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. Her body felt heavy, like she'd slept too long. Her throat was dry. She tried to sit up, but a dull ache spread through her side, sharp enough to make her gasp. "Hey, easy," a soft voice said. A nurse rushed to her bedside, pressing a button on the wall. "You're okay, sweetheart. You're safe." Zariel blinked slowly. "My mom?" "She's resting," the nurse replied gently. "She's been asking for you." Zariel relaxed just a little. "Did it work?" The nurse hesitated for half a second. Then she smiled. "Yes. You helped him." Zariel didn't smile back. She stared at the ceiling instead, listening to the machines around her. They sounded steady. Calm. Not like before. Her door opened quietly. Kong Dae-suk stepped inside. The nurse stiffened instantly. "Sir." "Leave us," he said. The nurse glanced at Zariel, then reluctantly left. Dae-suk stood near the foot of the bed, hands clasped behind his back. He didn't look at the machines. He looked at Zariel. "You were very brave," he said. Zariel swallowed. "Is he awake?" "Yes," Dae-suk replied. "Because of you." She nodded, as if that settled something inside her. "Can I see my mom now?" "In time," he said. "Doctors first." Zariel frowned slightly. You promised. I keep my promises, Dasuk said calmly. She studied his face. He didn't look kind. But he didn't look like he was lying either. Will he be nice now? She asked suddenly. Dasuk paused. My son? Yes. He has never learned how, Dasuk admitted. But he will learn. Zariel didn't understand what that meant. She just nodded again. Later that day, they wheeled Zariel down a quiet hallway. Her mother lay in a nearby bed, eyes closed, color slowly returning to her face. Mom, Zariel whispered. Her mother's eyes fluttered open. The moment she saw Zariel, she tried to sit up. What did they do to you? Her mother cried, panic flooding her voice. What did they make you do? Zariel reached for her hand. It's okay. I helped someone. You don't have to work anymore. Her mother shook her head wildly. No, this isn't okay. You're just a child. Doctor stepped in, calming her gently, but her mother's eyes never left Zariel. I'm sorry, Zariel whispered. I didn't want you to cry again. Tears streamed down her mother's face. That night, Kong Jaemin opened his eyes for the first time in days. The first thing he noticed was the silence. The pain was still there, but it was distant now. Controlled. You're awake, a doctor said, relief clear in his voice. Jaemin frowned. Why does my body feel different? The doctor hesitated. You received a transplant. Jaemin turned his head slowly. From who? The doctor looked toward the door. Kong Dasuk stepped inside. From a donor, Dasuk said. A perfect match. Where did you find them? Jaemin asked. His voice was weak, but sharp. Dasuk didn't answer right away. Jaemin's eyes narrowed. Father. A child, Dasuk said finally. The word hit like a slap. A what? Jaemin tried to sit up, pain flaring. You're joking. She volunteered, Dasuk replied calmly. Jaemin stared at the ceiling, jaw tightening. How old? Dasuk didn't respond. How old? Jaemin snapped. 9, Dasuk said. Silence swallowed the room. Jaemin's breathing grew uneven. You used a child to save me? She saved you, Dasuk corrected. I ensured she was compensated. Compensated? Jaemin laughed bitterly. She's not a business deal. Dasuk's eyes hardened. She is alive. You are alive. That is success. Jaemin turned his face away. Get out. Dasuk didn't move. I said get out. After a long moment, Dasuk left without another word. Jaemin clenched his fists, guilt flooding his chest heavier than the pain. He had spent his life breaking people without learning their names. And now a child had paid the price for him. The next morning, Jaemin insisted on seeing her. Doctors argued. Nurses protested. But his voice, though weak, carried authority. Bring her, he said. They wheeled Zariel into his room. She looked impossibly small against the wide hospital bed. Her hair was braided neatly now. Her eyes were alert but tired. Jaemin stared at her. She stared back. You're him? She asked. He nodded slowly. Yes. You look scary, she said honestly. A corner of his mouth twitched despite himself. I've been told. They sat in silence for a moment. Does it hurt? She asked. Yes, he admitted. She nodded. Me too. Something twisted in his chest. I didn't ask for this, he said quietly. I know, Zariel replied. I wanted my mom to stop crying. He looked at her sharply. Thank you, he said. She shrugged weakly. You're welcome. Outside the room, Kong Dasuk watched through the glass, eyes unreadable. He had won. But something had changed. And if you can feel the tension building, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and comment what you think Jaemin should do next, because the consequences of this choice are only starting to unfold. Here is batch 3, 3/5. Is almost equal to 1,000 words third-person POV escalating tension dialogue heavy emotional turns no headings. Zariel was moved out of the hospital 3 days later. Not home. Somewhere else. The car windows were tinted so dark she couldn't see outside. She sat quietly in the back seat, feet dangling above the floor, hands folded in her lap like her mother had taught her. 2 men sat in front. Neither of them spoke. "Where are we going?" Zariel asked softly. One of the men glanced at her through the mirror. "Someplace safe." She didn't ask more questions. Adults rarely answered children honestly anyway. The house they arrived at was huge. Too quiet. Too clean. It smelled like money and new paint. Her mother stood beside her, stiff and pale, eyes darting nervously. "This is temporary," a woman in a suit said smoothly. "Until everything settles." "Settles?" Zariel's mother repeated. The woman smiled without warmth. "Until people forget." That night, Zariel couldn't sleep. The bed was too soft. The room too big. She missed the sound of traffic outside their old apartment. She missed knowing where things were. She slid out of bed and padded toward the window. Outside, guards stood motionless. She swallowed. The door behind her opened quietly. "You shouldn't wander," Jaemin said. Zariel turned, startled. "You're not supposed to walk yet." "I don't listen well," he replied. He looked different out of the hospital. Still pale, but sharper. Dangerous in a quiet way. "Are you mad at me?" she asked. He crouched down to her level slowly. "No. Your dad is scary," she said matter-of-factly. Jaemin let out a breath that almost sounded like a laugh. "Yes. He is. Is he going to make me help again?" The question hit him like a punch. "No," he said instantly. "Never." She studied his face, searching for cracks. "Promise?" "I promise," he said. The next day, the threats began. A man was caught near the gate before dawn. Not armed. Just watching. Then a message arrived. Blood was smeared across a white envelope. "Insurance expires." Kang Dae-suk read it without expression. "Handle it," he said. Jaemin slammed his fist on the table. "This is because of her." "Everything is because of something," Dae-suk replied calmly. "You brought her into this. I saved you. At her expense." Dae-suk's gaze sharpened. "You live because I was willing to do what you wouldn't." Jaemin leaned forward. "If anyone touches her, I burn everything you built." Silence. Then Dae-suk smiled faintly. "You sound like my son again." That afternoon, Zariel overheard voices while coloring at the dining table. "She's a liability. She's a symbol. She's leverage." The words didn't make sense, but the tone did. She hugged her crayon tighter. That night, she woke up screaming. Her mother rushed in, holding her close. "It's okay. It's okay. I don't like this house," Zariel sobbed. "People look at me like I'm a thing." Her mother closed her eyes, guilt flooding her face. "I tried to stop them," she whispered. "I swear I tried." Zariel wiped her tears. "You don't have to clean anymore," she said bravely. "That's good, right?" Her mother broke. Across the hall, Jaemin listened through the door, jaw clenched. He realized then that saving his life had cost this child her childhood. And the world wasn't done taking. 2 days later, a car exploded outside one of Kang Dae-suk's warehouses. No casualties. Just a warning. That night, Dae-suk made a decision. "She will be moved," he announced. Zariel looked up from her food. "Where?" "A school," he said. "Private." secure. Her mother stiffened. She's not a package. Daesuk met her gaze coldly. She is alive because I allow it. Jaemin stood abruptly. She goes nowhere without me knowing. Daesuk's eyes flicked to his son. You are not in charge. Jaemin leaned in. Not yet. Zariel watched them, heart pounding. Am I in trouble? She asked quietly. Jaemin turned to her immediately. No. You're being protected. She nodded, even though she didn't feel protected. The night before the move, Zariel sat on the floor of her room, hugging her knees. What if I forget who I am? She whispered. Jaemin, standing in the doorway, frowned. Why would you? Because everyone keeps telling me I'm important now, she said. I didn't want to be important. I just wanted my mom. Something inside Jaemin cracked. He knelt in front of her. Listen to me. You didn't owe anyone anything. What you did doesn't belong to them. Then why does it feel like it does? He didn't have an answer. The next morning, as they prepared to leave, Zariel noticed something strange. The man helping her mother pack bowed, deeply. Not to Kang Daesuk. To Zariel. She froze. Why did he do that? She whispered to Jaemin. Jaemin's eyes darkened. Because they're afraid. Of me? Of what you represent, he said. She didn't like that answer. As the car pulled away, Zariel pressed her forehead against the window. She didn't know it yet, but powerful people were already fighting over her existence. And if you're feeling the danger closing in, this is the moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment if you think Zariel should stay or run, because the next choice will change everything. The school didn't look like a school. High walls. Cameras on every corner. Guards at the gate with polite smiles and hard eyes. Zariel clutched her mother's hand as the car stopped. This looks like a jail, she whispered. Her mother forced a smile. It's just, safe. Jaemin stepped out first, scanning the surroundings. He didn't like it either. She stays with her mother, he told the head administrator flatly. The woman hesitated. Sir, the arrangement. I don't care about the arrangement, Jaemin said. Change it. The woman nodded immediately. Of course. Zariel watched it all silently. Adults always bent around him. It made her uncomfortable. The days that followed felt wrong. The other children wore clean uniforms and spoke softly. They stared at Zariel like she didn't belong, like she was something strange that had wandered in by mistake. A girl whispered, "That's her." Zariel pretended not to hear. At night, she dreamed of hospital lights and woke up gasping. Her mother would hold her until the shaking stopped. You did nothing wrong, her mother kept saying. But Zariel wasn't sure. One afternoon, the power went out. The lights flickered once, then darkness. Children screamed. Zariel felt her stomach drop. Guards shouted. Footsteps pounded. Jaemin moved fast, grabbing Zariel and pulling her behind him. Stay close to me, he ordered. Gunshots cracked outside. Zariel screamed. Jaemin covered her ears, pressing her face into his side. Don't look. Minutes felt like hours. When the lights came back on, 3 guards were down. Alive, but bleeding. Kang Daesuk arrived less than an hour later. This ends now, he said coldly. Jaemin rounded on him. You brought this to her door. She is a symbol, Daesuk replied. People want control. She's a child. A valuable one. Zariel heard everything. Her small hands curled into fists. That night, she couldn't sleep. She slipped out of bed and padded down the hallway until she found Jaemin sitting alone, staring at his phone. Are they fighting because of me? She asked. He looked up, startled. No. She didn't believe him. If I go away, she said carefully, will it stop? Jaemin's jaw tightened. Where would you go? I don't know. Somewhere quiet. He crouched in front of her. You don't fix other people's violence by disappearing. But I started it. No, he said firmly. My world started it long before you were born. She searched his face. Then why do they keep saying my name? Because you saved me, he thought. Because you changed everything. But he didn't say that. Instead, he said, you don't belong to them. The next morning, Zariel overheard two staff members whispering. If she disappears, the war ends. She's insurance. Zariel backed away slowly, heart pounding. She ran. She didn't get far. Hands grabbed her gently but firmly. Easy, little one, a voice said. We just want to talk. Jamin arrived seconds later, fury blazing. Let her go. The man raised his hands. Message delivery only. A message from who? Jamin demanded. The man smiled thinly. From someone who wants what you took. That night, Kong Daesuk made another choice. Zariel was brought to his study. She stood on the rug, small and shaking. You are causing problems, Daesuk said evenly. I didn't mean to, she whispered. I know, he said. Which is why I'm offering a solution. Her mother stepped forward. She's not leaving me. She is, Daesuk replied calmly. Temporarily. Zariel's breath hitched. Where? Somewhere no one can reach her. Jamin slammed his hand on the desk. You're isolating her. I'm preserving her, Daesuk corrected. Zariel looked up at him. Will I be alone? Daesuk studied her. No. You will be watched. That answer terrified her. That night, her mother packed quietly, tears falling into Zariel's clothes. I'm sorry, her mother whispered again and again. Zariel hugged her tightly. I'll come back, right? Her mother couldn't answer. The car drove away before dawn. Zariel watched the city disappear, her chest aching. Jamin followed in another car, hands clenched until his knuckles turned white. This wasn't protection. It was containment. And somewhere far away, people were already planning how to use the little girl who had survived what she never should have been asked to give. If you're still here, make sure you like the video and subscribe, because the final chapter is where everything breaks open. Here is Batch 5, May 5th. Is almost equal to 1,000 words third-person POV emotional climax resolution plus cliff feel no headings. The place they took Zariel to was quiet in a way that felt unnatural. No traffic. No voices. Just the sound of wind brushing against trees and the soft crunch of gravel under tires. The house was smaller than the last one, hidden deep behind iron gates and tall hedges. Guards stood at a distance, never too close, never too far. This is temporary, the woman in the suit said again. Zariel didn't answer. She sat on the edge of the bed that night, clutching her backpack to her chest. Inside were three things, a small stuffed bear, a worn photo of her and her mother, and a crumpled piece of paper her mother had slipped into her pocket before dawn. Be brave. Remember who you are. I love you more than my life. Zariel pressed the paper to her forehead and breathed in slowly, the way her mother had taught her when things felt too big. Days passed. Adults came and went. Doctors checked her vitals. Tutors tried to teach her math and reading. Everyone was polite. No one asked her what she wanted. She stopped asking for her mother out loud. But every night, she whispered her name into the dark. Miles away, Jamin stood in the middle of his father's office, fury burning through the calm he'd been raised to wear. You turned her into a prisoner, he said. She is alive, Kong Daesuk replied coolly. That is the only outcome that matters. She cries herself to sleep, Jamin snapped. I hear it in her voice when she talks to me. Daesuk's eyes flickered. Emotions pass. She's not a phase, Jamin said. She's a child. And children grow, Daesuk said. Into assets. Or liabilities. Jaemin leaned forward. If you don't let her go back to her mother, I will tear this empire apart piece by piece. Daesuk studied his son carefully. You are alive because of her. Yes, Jaemin said. And because of that, she is the one thing in this world I will not let you destroy. For the first time, Daesuk said nothing. That night, Zariel heard raised voices outside her door. Orders have changed. She's being moved. Her heart dropped. She slid off the bed and hid behind the door just as it opened. Jaemin stood there. Her breath caught. You came. He knelt immediately, pulling her into a careful hug. I told you I wouldn't leave you. She buried her face in his jacket. Are they taking me again? No, he said softly. They're letting you go. Her head snapped up. Really? Yes. But my mom. She's waiting, he said. Zariel's knees nearly gave out. The drive felt unreal. The city lights blurred past the window. Her hand shook the entire time. When the car stopped, she saw her mother standing under a streetlight, thinner than before, eyes red, hands clenched together like she was afraid this was another trick. Mom, Zariel whispered. Then she was running. Her mother dropped to her knees as Zariel crashed into her arms, both of them sobbing so hard they could barely breathe. I thought I lost you, her mother cried. I'm here, Zariel said. I'm here. Jaemin watched from a distance, chest tight. He turned when he felt his father's presence. This is a mistake, Daesuk said quietly. No, Jaemin replied. This is a line. Daesuk studied the reunited pair. Something unreadable passed through his eyes. She changed you, he said. Yes, Jaemin answered. She did. Weeks later, life didn't magically return to normal. Zariel still woke up from nightmares. Her mother still jumped at sudden sounds. Guards still lingered nearby. But something was different. Zariel went back to school, an ordinary one this time. She made one friend. Then another. She laughed again, softly at first, like she wasn't sure she was allowed to. One afternoon, her teacher asked the class to write about a hero. Zariel raised her hand. Can heroes be small? She asked. The teacher smiled. Of course. Zariel wrote about a girl who was scared, but loved her mother more than she loved her fear. Jaemin visited sometimes. Always respectful. Always at a distance. He brought books. Left quietly. Are you okay? He asked her once. Zariel thought about it. I'm getting there, she said. He nodded, as if that was enough. Far away, Kang Daesuk stood alone in his office, staring at a city that no longer bent so easily to his will. He had built an empire on control. And a child had exposed its limits. Years would pass. The world would forget the details. But the consequences would remain. Because somewhere in that vast city lived a little girl who had learned too early how powerful kindness could be, and how dangerous it was to take it for granted. And that girl would grow up remembering exactly who she was. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories, and comment below what part hit you the hardest. Your support keeps stories like this alive. And sometimes, stories change more than just the screen they're told on.